from PwC based in Beijing, right?
Yes.
So could you give us just a short introduction about yourself?
Yeah, of course. My name is Bo Yu, and I've been with PwC for over 22 years. Joined the firm in 1999. I've been working in Hong Kong for 1 year and in Germany for 1 year, also within the PwC network. I'm leading a practice for advising local governments in China so that they can design better policies. And also we want to build up a bridge between enterprises, which typical our client base, and the governments to help each other understand better of each other's need, and in particular to help Chinese government to improve its policy making.
How many times have you been in Chongqing?
Well, I've been here for many times. Last week I was here because Chongqing has announced open up for service sector, and because our team was handling the opening up of service sector in Beijing, and that's why we also came here last week to report whether we can do some help for the Chongqing government. So I was here last week.
Since you come here many times, so what are your impressions of changes that take place here?
Well, I think Chongqing has always been a great city. I've always been enjoying the food here. Over the past few years, we have witnessed a lot of changes happening in Chongqing. In particular, the Liangjiang Xinqu, the auto industry, the computer manufacturing industry. So we are very impressive for the growth in Chongqing, and we hope we could contribute more as a firm for Chongqing development.
So what do you expect from this third WCIFIT?
Well, I think we hope there will be a lot of dialogues from business community leaders from the world to share their perspective on the position of Chongqing, and perhaps in the 14th five-year plan for Chongqing. So we expect a lot of dialogues to happen.
In your views, what features and or just highlights will be here just in this time?
I think Chongqing is positioned by the central government as the leading point for Western development. So, and I think Chongqing has been taking a leading role across the Asian countries. So we hope that this third event happening here will provide more guidance for how we could, establish a collaborative economic relationship with Asian countries, as well as in the western part, coordinate with Sichuan province, Yunnan, Guizhou, and Guangxi province.
As an important event of the third WCIFIC, 2021 Asia Enterprise of Tomorrow will take place as well. At the conference, PwC will issue Asia CEO report. And could you give us a short introduction about it?
Yeah, of course. PwC has been doing the CEO survey for over 24 years, and we are going to announce the 24th CEO survey tomorrow in the main event. I think the CEO survey, the purpose for that survey is to give a snapshot of the CEO sentiment about their perspective for their respective economic development status, and we'll also talk about their main challenges, because we'll see, you will see tomorrow that there will be a lot of changes in their sentiment with regards to what are their biggest challenges in terms of their enterprises. For example, the trade conflict in the past year was ranking the highest concerning issue, but this year the pandemic has become the most challenging factor. We'll also talk about the location, that because each enterprise will have its own footprint. We'll talk about from China's CEO perspective, from US CEO perspective, how they view the different proportion in the world in terms of their business development. So we'll share more information tomorrow.
Good. Just can you summarize the highlights of it?
Well, I think the highlights for our report is, of course, the pandemic. Most CEOs will believe that the pandemic will not be over in the next 3 years. So this will bring a lot of challenges to those traditional industries like tourist, like hoteling, hospitality. But there, on the other hand, a lot of industries are seeing, very fast growth because of the pandemic. For example, the TMT industry. People are working at home, right? Using Tengxun web meeting kind of thing. So the TMT sectors, a CEO from that sector, they are very optimistic for their development. But CEOs in those traditional industries, they are very concerned whether they can be fully recovered in the next 3 years. The other highlight that we get from this report was nearly all the CEOs that we have been surveyed, they want to invest heavily in the digital transformation. But there are different challenges in terms of how you carry out the digital transformation, as well as to develop the digital transformation strategy. So those are the highlights of our reports.
In general, what are the Asian CEOs' attitude toward the Asian economy and also the global economy?
I think this year the CEO from Asian countries are relatively confident that the economy they see in 2021, they are confident that it will be better than 2020. Asian CEO also view, but they continue to view the pandemic as the biggest challenging factor. The second challenging factor they find was the cyber security attack. And the third factor that they found challenging was the misinformation. Like everybody saw the event for Tesla, right? There are a series of reports regarding Tesla, and there are some information are perhaps true, some information are perhaps not true. So the misinformation continue to be the challenging factor for Asia CEOs.
Yeah. Okay. This year is the first year for the Asia Enterprise of Tomorrow to be held. So what's your takes on this platform as an angle of the enterprise?
I think it just have to be for this event, because last year I think China government was leading the initiative for RCEP, the Regional Closer Economic Partnership. And the conclusion of RCEP certainly strengthened the position for China to be further integrated into the Asia business circle. So we hope that by end of this year or early next year, the formal conclusion and implementation of the RCEP will roll out fully. And this Asia Enterprise of Tomorrow is certainly one of the factors that people will discuss regarding RCEP, and we certainly hope that Chongqing will play a significant role in the implementation of RCEP.
What's your suggestions on this Asia Enterprise of Tomorrow for its get better?
Well, I think we hope that because we see that diplomatic and economic relationship with Korea and Japan are improving in recent 2 years. And these two economies, one of the biggest economies apart from China in Asia. So I think this afternoon, one of our partners are also leading a delegation of Korean companies, over 40 Korean companies, visiting Chongqing to enhance the cooperation between Chongqing and Korea. So I think if Chongqing can strengthen the economic partnership with Korea and Japan, and also including other Asian countries, I think, it will certainly help the fair to be held tomorrow.
Now, Chongqing is expanding its development as well as the opening up, and especially it's boosting the construction of Chengdu and Chongqing economic zone. And what's your takes on that?
Well, I think it's also because we used to see that there's a little competition going on between Chengdu and Chongqing. And I think the Chengdu and Chongqing economic circle now perhaps provides more coordinated approach in terms of different industry allocation and cooperation between these two biggest cities in Sichuan province. So I think, yeah, we certainly have a strong belief that Chengyu, this two-city economic circle, will emerge after the Greater Bay Area, after the Yangtze River area and Jing-Jin-Ji to become the fourth economic cluster in the future.
What do you think that Chongqing's development chances in future?
Well, I certainly bet on the success for Chongqing because we have a great office here. Mm-hmm. We have over 70 or 80 people working in our Chongqing office, and we hope they can develop and expand soon. With regards to Chongqing itself, we believe, as far as I know, the first quarter economic results was very satisfactory. The computer manufacturing industry the export for this industry was growing like double-digit growth. So I think if Chongqing can continue its trend and also with the completion of construction for the Chongqing Science Center or Science City, well, I think it will provide parallel development stimulus for the Liangjiang Xinqu and Chongqing Kejue城. So we have a very high confidence for the growth of Chongqing in the future.
What's your advice on Chongqing to attract more foreign companies or enterprises to invest here?
Well, I think our clients are also, considering how they deploy their resources in China, mm-hmm. and Chongqing being one of the most important cities in the Western region. This is a place that no one can forget. And we have seen some movements from MNCs, multinational companies headquartered in Beijing and Shanghai. They are also expanding into Chongqing and perhaps also include Chengdu as well. So I think in the future, if Chongqing could develop more stimulus plan for foreign investments into Chongqing, as well as open up its state-owned enterprises for mixed reform to attract joint ventures rather than wholly foreign-owned enterprises. I think more foreign investors will be interested to come here.